Poppy, reflections on the season. Disappointed?
Yes. My indoors fantastic. I can't complain about that. Every competition was higher and higher. Ending with a PB at senior champs, my first ever one, and 5th place at my first senior champs. I can't complain with indoors. Outdoors just didn't happen. I got really quite ill after indoors. Was in bed for 2 weeks, not doing anything at all. And then just one thing after another. I wasn't able to train as much. Just seemed to have cold after cold, and then stress of exams. And yeah, my highest outdoors was 175, which is an easy height for me. And yeah, it just didn't happen outdoors for me.
Can you just explain how illness affects an athlete, and maybe in particular a high jumper?
Yeah, majorly. It's well-being of an athlete. You have to have obviously strength and your training is one side of it. Obviously your diet is another, but actually your personal health and hygiene and everything, that is a whole nother thing for athletes. There's a thing of after a session of how long you should shower after a session, and that can really affect you, because the longer that you leave it, the more germs will build up and things like that. So there's a whole nother outlook of that. But my illness was a stomach virus that I caught, and it was rife in February time, gastroenteritis. So obviously I just, every time I'd get up, I'd just have to run to the loo, or I'd be throwing up, anything that I would do. So obviously I wasn't able to train, and because I was being sick all the time, obviously I lost so much weight so quickly. I lost just over a stone in 2 weeks, which is ridiculous. So it just and as well mentally, it just drains you, because not only are you tired from being ill, coughing, sneezing, being sick all the time, you just mentally you're fed up with it. You want to train. As an athlete, training is your life. That's what you live for. And I just think, as well, it's like being injured. If you're injured, people get depressed, they get really down on themselves. It's the same with being ill, because my whole body was fine. I felt great. I just jumped a PB. The following week I was in bed, not able to do anything. My mum trying to feed me toast and me throwing up at the sight of it. So, and it's, I think, for me personally, my illness was more frustrating than my injuries this year, because I felt so good. Apart from losing the weight, I was the lightest I've ever been. I was, 12% body fat, which, for a girl is quite low. Obviously I just jumped the PB, my strength levels were the highest I've ever been. And then just suddenly, within 2 days, bang, I was in bed, not able to do anything. And that was really frustrating and got me really down with it. So, yeah.
And the A-levels must have not cast a shadow, but it's a big challenge. A-levels, one of the biggest academic challenges of your whole career.
Yeah.
But that must have been taking up time.
Definitely. I was obviously at Southend High for Girls, which is one of the best schools in the country. So there was a big, not pressure, but a big expectation that I was going to pass my A-levels and do really well. And I did well at AS, and then was kind of expected to do well again at A2. So I had this personal pressure, really, because no one else was pressuring me. It was myself. I wanted to do well for my school. I wanted to do well for myself, my parents. My school, my parents were nothing to do. It was for me, And I put a lot of pressure on myself with my A-levels. And I think, it did affect my competing outdoors, because, as well with stress, all your you get loads of deficiencies in your vitamins and all things like that, and that then illnesses then struck. It just seems to be that when I get stressed I get ill, and with the A-levels being the biggest exams I've ever done, and it got me ill again, and all through my A-levels I was coughing and sneezing and having to run out, and it had a knock-on effect onto my performance.
Do we have a happy ending to this? How did you get on in your A-levels?
Yeah, I did well. I got A star and 3 Bs, so I'm happy.
And you're off to?
Loughborough.
To study?
Sport and exercise science.
And Loughborough, to people who don't know, is a real sort of hotbed of sporting excellence, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Cambridge of sport, in my opinion. Team GB are based there for pretty much all sports now. They've made it a real sport hub. it's absolutely fantastic facilities, multi-million-pound facilities there. It's the place to be. Yeah.
So we've dealt with this transitional year, I guess, or a year of challenges. What are your hopes for 2015?
Well, I'm still under 20 for the coming year, so my aim is European Juniors. At the moment I've got the standard, which is 181, so I'm hoping they don't move it up. If they do, then I've just got to get the next one. But yeah, that's my aim this year, is to get there, because I was so close last year with 181 and Sam was 182. And the year before I jumped 178, which was the World Youth Standard, but I didn't get selected for the team through different reasons, injury and illness. So this year, third time lucky, I'm really hoping that I'll get European Juniors.
You're very much like Hayley, concentrating on European Juniors and championships. Is it possible to rush an athlete? You know, do people to say to you, oh, when are you going to get your British vest and when are you going to do this? But all these things take, I mean, as you said, you're only, 18?
Yeah.
Things take time, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very important to, learn how your body works and learn that, with development of an athlete, it's, I used to dance. That was like my previous before athletics, and I think I was quite strong, in my opinion. I started doing athletics and I realised that actually I wasn't strong compared to like other people of my age. So yeah, I was not behind, but I just had to kind of catch up with the other girls. It's a different level. It's a different level of strength, and it's a different strength that you need in athletics. It's it's not only is it physically, but you have to be mentally strong. And I think this year I wasn't mentally strong. My stress levels went high, and everything got the better of me this year, it seemed. But no, I think definitely the development of an athlete is so important. As a coach as well, I've got a fantastic coach, and he's really not tapered down my programme, but when I was ill, I was doing things, in the gym that I can easily do. But when I was ill, I was finding them hard, so he would, be there with me. Every session he'd be there, all the others would get on with it because they were okay. He'd be there with me, spotting me in the gym and helping me through everything. And I think it's very important, yeah, I didn't get it 2 years ago, I didn't get it this year, and that's frustrating, but it's so important to just keep focused. And I said all the way through, when I started at under 20s, I said all the way through, European Juniors is my goal. That's my goal.